Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bioverse, where biology becomes easy, fun, and exam-ready for NEET and Class 11 and 12 students. Today, we are starting Chapter 3, Human Reproduction, from Class 12 Biology. Question 1. Why does the failure of the testes to descend into the scrotum produce sterility? Answer. The testes require a temperature about 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than body temperature for the production of sperms. If the testes fail to descend into the scrotum, they remain at a higher temperature, which prevents spermatogenesis and results in sterility. Question 2. Sperms have a tail, whereas eggs do not. Why so? Answer. Sperms are motile and need a tail to swim through the female reproductive tract to reach the egg. Eggs are non-motile and are transported passively, so they do not require a tail. Question 3. Mention the function of the trophoblast in the human embryo. Answer. The trophoblast helps in the implantation of the embryo into the uterine wall and later forms a part of the placenta, which helps in the exchange of nutrients and gases between the mother and the embryo. Question 4. Name the embryonic stage that gets implanted in the uterine wall of a human female. Answer. The blastocyst is the embryonic stage that gets implanted in the uterine wall. Question 5. What stimulates the pituitary to release the hormone responsible for parturition? Name the hormone. Answer. Stretching of the cervix during childbirth stimulates nerve impulses to the hypothalamus. This causes the pituitary gland to release the hormone oxytocin, which induces strong uterine contractions during parturition. Question 6. List the changes the primary oocyte undergoes in the tertiary follicular stage in the human ovary. Answer. In the tertiary follicular stage, the primary oocyte completes the first meiotic division to form a secondary oocyte and a first polar body. The follicle also develops a fluid-filled cavity called the antrum. Question 7. Write the location and function of Sertoli cells in humans. Answer. Sertoli cells are located inside the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Their function is to support, nourish, and regulate spermatogenesis, and they also secrete inhibin. Question 8. When do oogenesis and spermatogenesis initiate in human females and males, respectively? Answer. Oogenesis begins during fetal life in human females. Spermatogenesis begins at puberty in human males. Question 9. Mention the difference between spermiogenesis and spermiation. Answer. Spermiogenesis is the process by which spermatids transform into mature sperms. Spermiation is the process by which mature sperms are released from the Sertoli cells into the lumen of seminiferous tubules. Question 11. Where is the acrosome present in humans? Write its functions. Answer. The acrosome is present at the anterior end of the head of the sperm. Its function is to release enzymes that help the sperm penetrate the protective layers of the ovum during fertilization. Question 12. How is the entry of only one sperm and not many ensured into an ovum during fertilization in humans? Answer. After the entry of the first sperm, the ovum undergoes a cortical reaction. This reaction forms a fertilization membrane, which prevents the entry of additional sperms. Question 11. Explain the function of the umbilical cord. Answer. The umbilical cord connects the fetus to the placenta. It helps in the transport of oxygen and nutrients from the mother to the fetus and removes carbon dioxide and waste materials from the fetus. Question 12. How is the entry of only one sperm, and not many, ensured into an ovum during fertilization in humans? Answer. After the entry of the first sperm, the ovum undergoes a cortical reaction. This reaction forms a fertilization membrane, which prevents the entry of additional sperms. Question 13. Mention the location and function of Leydig cells in humans. Leydig cells are located in the interstitial spaces between the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Their function is to secrete androgens, mainly testosterone, which regulates spermatogenesis and the development of male secondary sexual characters. Question 14. What is the function of mitochondria in sperm? Mitochondria are present in the middle piece of the sperm. They produce ATP, which provides energy for sperm motility. Question 15. What is monospermy? How is polyspermy prevented in humans? Monospermy is the fertilization of an ovum by a single sperm. Polyspermy is prevented by the cortical reaction, which forms a fertilization membrane that blocks the entry of additional sperms. Question 16. What is gynecomastia? What is its cause during the neonatal period and during puberty? Gynecomastia is the temporary enlargement of male mammary glands. During the neonatal period, it is caused by the effect of maternal estrogen. During puberty, it occurs due to hormonal imbalance between estrogen and testosterone. Question 17. What is pregnancy hormone? Why is it so called? Name 2 sources of the hormone in a human female. Answer. The pregnancy hormone is progesterone. It is called the pregnancy hormone because it maintains the uterine lining and supports pregnancy. The 2 sources of progesterone in a human female are the corpus luteum and the placenta. Question 18. Draw a labeled diagram of an ovum and label its 4 parts. Question 19. Why is the human placenta referred to as a hemochorial type? Explain. Answer. The human placenta is called hemochorial because the chorionic villi of the embryo are in direct contact with maternal blood. This allows efficient exchange of nutrients, gases, and wastes between the mother and the fetus. Question 20. Draw a labeled diagram of a sectional view of the human ovary showing various stages of follicles growing in it. Question 21. Where are fimbriae present in the human female reproductive system? Give their function. Fimbriae are present at the infundibulum end of the fallopian tube, close to the ovary. Their function is to collect the ovum released from the ovary and guide it into the fallopian tube. Question 22. Name the muscular and glandular layers of the human uterus. Which layer undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle? Name the hormone essential for the maintenance of this layer. The muscular layer of the uterus is called the myometrium. The glandular layer is called the endometrium. The endometrium undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle. The hormone essential for the maintenance of this layer is progesterone. Question 23. Where are Leydig cells present? What is their role in reproduction? Answer. Leydig cells are present in the interstitial spaces between the seminiferous tubules of the testes. Their role is to secrete testosterone, which is essential for spermatogenesis and development of male secondary sexual characters. Question 24. Name the source of gonadotropins in human females. Explain the changes brought about in the ovary by these hormones during the menstrual cycle. Answer. Gonadotropins are secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. They include follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, and luteinizing hormone, LH. FSH stimulates the growth and maturation of ovarian follicles. A surge of LH induces ovulation and later stimulates the formation of the corpus luteum. Question 25. The placenta acts as an endocrine tissue. Justify. Answer. The placenta acts as an endocrine tissue because it secretes several hormones. These include human chorionic gonadotropin, progesterone, estrogens, and human placental lactogen. These hormones help in maintaining pregnancy and supporting fetal development. Question 26. Mention the fate of the corpus luteum and its effects on the uterus in the absence of fertilization of the ovum in a human female. Answer. In the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerates into corpus albicans. As progesterone levels fall, the endometrium breaks down and is shed, resulting in menstruation. Question 27. Spermatogenesis in human males is a hormone-regulated process. Justify. Answer. Spermatogenesis is regulated by hormones secreted from the hypothalamus, pituitary, and testes. Gonadotropin-releasing hormone stimulates the pituitary to release FSH and LH. LH stimulates Leydig cells to secrete testosterone, while FSH acts on Sertoli cells to support spermatogenesis. Thus, spermatogenesis is a hormone-controlled process. Question 28. Draw a labeled diagram of the reproductive system in the human female. Question 29. Name the hormones produced only during pregnancy in the human female. Mention their source organ. Answer. Hormones produced only during pregnancy are human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG, human placental lactogen, HPL, and relaxin. All are secreted by the placenta. Question 30. A. Where do the signals for parturition originate in humans? B. Why is it important to feed newborn babies on colostrum? Answer. A. The signals for parturition originate from the fetal brain, especially the hypothalamus, and the uterus. B. Colostrum is rich in antibodies, proteins, and nutrients, which protect the newborn from infections and boost immunity. Question 31. Identify the function or feature of the following. A. Oviductal fimbriae. B. Oxytocin. C. Middle piece in human sperm. D. Seminal vesicle. E. Acrosome of human sperm. Answer. A. Oviductal fimbriae collect the ovum from the ovary and guide it into the fallopian tube. B. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contractions during childbirth. C. Middle piece in human sperm contains mitochondria to provide energy for sperm motility. D. Seminal vesicle secretes seminal fluid rich in fructose to nourish sperm. E. Acrosome of human sperm contains enzymes to help the sperm penetrate the ovum. Question 32. Give a schematic representation of oogenesis in humans. Mention the number of chromosomes at each stage. Correlate the life phases of the individual with the stages of the process. Answer. Oogenesis starts before birth in females. Oogonium, 2N, 46 chromosomes present in fetal ovaries. Primary oocyte, 2N, 46 chromosomes, forms before birth and remains arrested in prophase 1 until puberty. Secondary oocyte, N, 23 chromosomes, forms after puberty during each menstrual cycle, arrested in metaphase 2 until fertilization. Ovum, N, 23 chromosomes, forms only if fertilization occurs. Correlation with life phases. Fetal life, formation of oogonia and primary oocytes. Puberty to menopause, growth of follicles and ovulation of secondary oocytes. Fertilization, formation of ovum. Question 34. A. Draw a labeled diagram of a sectional view of a human seminiferous tubule. B. Differentiate between gametogenesis in human males and females based on the time of initiation and products formed. Answer. A. Spermatogenesis, spermatogonium, 2N, 46 chromosomes, arrow, primary spermatocyte, 2N, 46 chromosomes, arrow, secondary spermatocyte, N, 23 chromosomes, arrow, spermatid, N, 23 chromosomes, arrow, spermatozoa, N, 23 chromosomes. B. Time of initiation. Female, fetal life, male, puberty. C. Organs where gametogenesis is completed. Female, ovary, male, testes. Question 35. Draw a diagrammatic sectional view of the human ovary, showing different stages of oogenesis along with the corpus luteum. Question 36. Where is the morula formed in humans? Explain the process of its development from a zygote. Answer. The morula is formed in the fallopian tube. Development from zygote. Fertilization produces a zygote, single-celled, 2N. The zygote undergoes cleavage, a series of mitotic cell divisions, forming 2, 4, 8, and then 16 cells. After 3 to 4 days, a solid ball of cells called the morula is formed. The morula then enters the uterus for further development into a blastocyst. Question 37. A. Draw a schematic diagram of human sperm and label the cellular components. Give the functions of any 3 parts. B. Where are the sperm heads found embedded after spermatogenesis? Answer. Functions of 3 parts. Head contains genetic material, DNA, to fuse with the ovum. Acrosome releases enzymes to penetrate the ovum. Middle piece contains mitochondria to provide energy for motility. B. After spermatogenesis, the sperm heads are embedded in the Sertoli cells of the seminiferous tubules. Question 38. A. When and how does the placenta develop in a human female? B. How is the placenta connected to the embryo? C. The placenta acts as an endocrine gland. Explain. Answer. A. The placenta begins to develop soon after implantation of the blastocyst in the uterine wall. It forms from the trophoblast of the embryo and maternal endometrium. B. The placenta is connected to the embryo by the umbilical cord, which contains 2 umbilical arteries and 1 vein. C. The placenta acts as an endocrine gland because it secretes hormones such as human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG, progesterone, estrogens, and human placental lactogen, HPL. These hormones maintain pregnancy, support fetal growth, and prepare the mother's body for childbirth and lactation. Question 39. When and where are primary oocytes formed in the human female? Trace the development of these oocytes till ovulation in the menstrual cycle. How do gonadotropins influence this developmental process? Answer. Primary oocytes are formed during fetal life in the ovaries. They remain arrested in prophase 1 until puberty. At puberty, each menstrual cycle, FSH, stimulates the growth of follicles, and 1 primary oocyte completes meiosis 1 to form a secondary oocyte and a first polar body. The secondary oocyte is arrested in metaphase 2 until fertilization. LH surge triggers ovulation, releasing the secondary oocyte into the fallopian tube. Gonadotropins, FSH and LH, are essential for follicle development, meiosis, and ovulation. Question 40. A. Explain the events taking place at the time of fertilization of an ovum in a human female. B. Trace the development of the zygote up to its implantation in the uterus. C. Name and draw a labeled sectional view of the embryonic stage that gets implanted. Answer. A. Fertilization events. A sperm penetrates the corona radiata and zona pellucida of the ovum. The acrosome releases enzymes to aid penetration. The sperm nucleus fuses with the ovum nucleus to form a zygote, 2N. Cortical reaction ensures only one sperm enters, monospermy. B. Development of the zygote. The zygote undergoes cleavage, forming 2, 4, 8, and then morula. The morula develops into a blastocyst after 3 to 4 days. The blastocyst enters the uterus and gets implanted into the endometrium. C. The blastocyst is the embryonic stage that gets implanted. Give a schematic representation showing the events of spermatogenesis in the human male. B. Describe the structure of a human sperm. A. Spermatogenesis schematic. Spermatogonium 2N to primary spermatocyte 2N to secondary spermatocyte N to spermatid N to spermatozoa N. B. Structure of human sperm. Head. It contains the nucleus with DNA. Acrosome. It covers the head and contains enzymes to penetrate the ovum. Middle piece. It contains mitochondria for energy to power motility. Tail or flagellum. It helps sperm swim toward the ovum. Question 42. A. Draw a diagrammatic labeled sectional view of a seminiferous tubule of a human. B. Describe in sequence the process of spermatogenesis in humans. Answer. A. Drawing of seminiferous tubule. B. Process of spermatogenesis in sequence. Spermatogonia 2N divide by mitosis to form more spermatogonia and primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes 2N undergo meiosis 1 to form secondary spermatocytes N. Secondary spermatocytes N undergo meiosis 2 to form spermatids N. Spermatids undergo spermiogenesis, transforming into mature spermatozoa N. Question 43. Describe the post-zygotic events leading to implantation and placenta formation in humans. Mention any 2 functions of the placenta. Answer. Post-zygotic events. The zygote undergoes cleavage to form a morula. The morula develops into a blastocyst. The blastocyst reaches the uterus and implants into the endometrium. The trophoblast of the blastocyst grows into the endometrium and develops into the placenta. 2 functions of the placenta. Exchange of nutrients, gases, and wastes between mother and fetus. Secretion of hormones like progesterone, HCG, and estrogens to maintain pregnancy. Question 44. Explain the process of fertilization in the human female. Trace the post-fertilization events in sequential order up to implantation of the embryo. Fertilization. A sperm penetrates the corona radiata and zona pellucida of the ovum. The acrosome releases enzymes to help penetration. The sperm nucleus fuses with the ovum nucleus, forming a zygote, 2N. Cortical reaction prevents entry of more sperms, monospermy. Post-fertilization events. The zygote undergoes cleavage to form 2, 4, 8 cells, and then a morula. the morula develops into a blastocyst. The blastocyst enters the uterus. The blastocyst implants into the endometrium. Question 45. A. Draw a labeled diagram of the human female reproductive system. Include ovary, fallopian tube, fimbriae, uterus, cervix, vagina. B. Enumerate the events in the ovary of a human female during A. Follicular phase. FSH stimulates growth and maturation of follicles. Primary oocyte completes meiosis I, forming secondary oocyte. Graphian follicle is formed. B. Luteal phase. LH stimulates formation of corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone to maintain the endometrium. Question 46. A. Write the specific location and functions of the following cells in human males. A. Leydig cells, located in interstitial spaces of testes, secrete testosterone to regulate spermatogenesis and male secondary sexual characters. B. Sertoli cells, located inside seminiferous tubules, support and nourish developing sperms, secrete inhibin. C. Primary spermatocyte, located in seminiferous tubules, undergoes meiosis I to form secondary spermatocytes. B. Explain the role of two accessory glands in the human male reproductive system. A. Seminal vesicle secretes fructose-rich seminal fluid to nourish sperm. B. Prostate gland secretes alkaline fluid to neutralize acidic vaginal environment. Question 47. A. When and where does spermatogenesis occur in a human male? Spermatogenesis occurs in the seminiferous tubules of testes starting at puberty. B. Draw a diagram of a mature human male gamete. Label acrosome, nucleus, middle piece, tail. C. Mention the function of the acrosome and the middle piece. Acrosome contains enzymes to penetrate ovum. Middle piece contains mitochondria for energy to power sperm motility. Like, share, and subscribe to Bioverse. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more NEET and CBSE biology videos.